So as you can see today, see this chapter of AC after RMS, we started with the circuit where only resistor was connected, when only inductor was connected, when only capacitor was connected. And we found if we apply an AC supply source, the current also will vary with the same frequency as the source. And there'll be an amplitude and there'll be a phase. In case of a resistor, voltage and current will be in the same phase. In case of LE, voltage will lead the current by 90 degree. It means voltage will attain the peak before current. And in case of capacitor, the current across capacitor and voltage across capacitor, there's a different relationship. So there also we find ice where current will lead the voltage by 90 degree. And that's a property we are used in a combination of the two. So today in very similar way, we'll pick up a circuit where all three are there. And if we basic principle will remain same. So if we apply a voltage here, so this is, see, just understand in this case also and try to see that one. So we talk about any particular instance, what will happen, and not an instance. Let's say if what is this connected here? This is supply source, which is a AC supply source. So this AC supply source voltage will have amplitude, it will have omega, and it will have certain phase. Phase is not so relevant here. And it will set up a current here, and this current also will vary as a sine function. We are not sure any direction of current will keep changing. So just marking current will flow, just to indicate at instant there's a current here. What is important here, when they are connected in series, current in all three of them are same at an instance. So current, whatever current at an instance, whatever current is there in resistor, same current is there in inductor, and same current is there in the capacitor. So what you're saying here, since the current is same, the current is common in all three. But when we look at how would voltage across resistance will vary, as the current is varying as a sine function, voltage also will vary as a sine function. This voltage will have amplitude and this voltage will have a frequency. Frequency is same. So if this is omega here, what you're saying, this also will vary with omega. And here also voltage also omega, omega, omega. Only question is what is the amplitude, what is phase here. So compared to current, the voltage also, if you look at VR, VR will be in the same phase as current. This will oscillate. If we just check, suppose we had device which can tell you the instantaneous value of voltage across resistor. The instantaneous value, if you have a plot, it will come as a sine function. It will vary in the same phase as current. Now we come look at what will happen as the current is there, voltage across this also. What will happen to voltage? This voltage here, in case of LE, voltage will lead current by 90 degree. Voltage will lead. So in a sense, what you are saying, the voltage across L will lead voltage across resistance by 90 degree. That's what it implies. Voltage across, what does it mean? So compared to, they will not attain the peak at the same time. So when voltage across inductor is 0, this will be at maximum. And when this is at maximum, this is at 0, voltage across this will be maximum. So voltage, this is in same phase as current. This VL leads by 90 degree compared to leads by 90 degree. And here VC will lag by 90 degree. So all three, so if I have to see this something I can, maybe I think I'll just try and see that one. What does it mean? So if I draw, suppose in that circuit, if I draw current like this, current is varying like this. Okay, current is a sinusoidal function. This current is how the current is varying. Based on this is current which is common for all three. Can you draw what will be the shape of VR curve? What is VR? How would voltage vary if the current is varying like this? VR will vary in the same phase. When the VR also will achieve the phase at the same time. VR will vary like this. Are you following this one? So VR will be in the phase. It means when the current becomes 0, VR also will become 0. Voltage across resistance also will be 0. And when it reaches peak, this also reaches peak. That's how VR will vary. And its amplitude depend on this. So that's what we understand. This is how VR will be. We all visualize how would VL vary. How would VL vary? If we have to draw at same instance, if it is possible to measure VL will lead by 90 degree. This VL will vary like this. It will reach here. This will vary like this. Okay. This is how VL will vary. This is what it means. So this is how VL will be. And whenever this maximum, this is how VL will vary. A similar way, can we also draw how would VC vary here? I'm trying to draw all three in the same case. Let's draw some third color. How would VC vary? VC will lag by 90 degree. What does this mean? Whether this one is, see, this one is reaching a peak here. VL is achieving by 4 times earlier. This will achieve later. So VC will vary something like this.
Yes, sir.
And what does it mean? And what would be if we can draw all three things together? See, theoretically, what I can do, every point I can add 3 graphs. Which 3 graph I can add? I can add VR, which is in blue color, green color, red color. All 3 can be added. If I add all 3, what I'm going to get here? That would be the applied voltage. That's the essence here. And this something, it looks complicated. Same thing we'll handle in terms of phasor. How do you draw in terms of phasor? Let me do same thing in terms of phasor. So phasor, if I choose this time to be 0, I take it this time to be 0. I typed other phasor. So what I've taken a time to be 0 when the current is equal to 0. Phase of current is 0. So I draw the phasor for current like this. Are you following? So this is phasor. See, length of the phasor remains same. If had I chosen this time to be 0, phasor of current would have made 90 degree. But I've chosen phasor. I've taken time to be 0 at the time when the current is 0. So this is how current phasor is. Now, how will be the VR phasor? VR phasor, it will be in the same phase. So let me draw VR phasor. This is how VR will vary. Okay, this is VR phasor. Then we look at how would VL vary. VL is in red color. Red color, this will lead by 90 degree. It will be
vertically upside.
So it will be up. We can draw that color also. So how would so this is, sorry, I've done this is VR. And how would VL be? VL will be like this, red color. This I have drawn VL. And how would what else here? VC will vary. How would VC vary? VC will vary. It will lag behind. And what would be the sum of all 3 voltages? If I take sum of this, that will give me the applied voltage. That's the principle we are using here. And that is something, if you understand again go through, if you understand this part only, then the rest of part becomes a little easier. So this is equation. Now we come back to the same point. Let's see whether how do we apply. The same principle we are going to apply here as well. And let's see, again, we are going to more or less repeat what we had done in case of LR circuit and LC circuit. Voltage applied is sum of 3 phases. And let's choose a time. What is the time choose present? The phase constant is 0 for I is 0. Okay. So that's the time. See, it's like choosing a coordinate system. I can always choose a time which makes my solution most simple. I've chosen a time. So phasor VR will be in the same phase. That's what we had drawn. So this is I phase and VR phase. They are in the same phase. So if in the instance when current is 0, voltage across this also, at this same instance, if I measure the voltage across, this will be 0. And this will be maximum, this will be, okay, let's understand this one. So we understood VR will be like this. So what will be about VL here? VL also is varying the sine function. It will have amplitude. So phasor of VL, LE, it leads by 90 degree. How do I draw VL? This is VL. I'm assuming the VL to be, okay, VL. And how much VL will be equal to? Amplitude of VL will be equal to amplitude of current into XL. That we should understand. And amplitude of VR will be equal to amplitude of current into resistance. Now there's here also there's some voltage here. What is that voltage? A phasor of VC. Let's draw. How would you draw the VC here? It will lag by 90 degree. This is how the phasor I draw for VC. So it has there 4 elements here: a current element, VR, VL, and VC. One thing left is applied voltage. So based on this, what is applied voltage? See, applied voltage, what we see here, this voltage, see, just like we do in case of DC also in series circuit, applied voltage is equal to voltage across, there are 3 resistances connected. You see, the resistance, sum of potential drop across all 3 is equal to applied voltage. Something similar. But this is not, this is something is varying as a sine function. So we use the property of sine function, or some quantity varying as sine function. This would be equal to sum of these 3. But what kind of sum? One, we can say instantaneous value of applied voltage is equal to instantaneous value of VR, VL, and VC, or we can say in terms of phasor. So this applied voltage is phasor sum of VR, VL, and VC. So what we do here, we can take the sum of these three phasors. Three voltages are drawn in red color. Can we draw the phasor sum, which is a vector sum of the three? And vector sum will represent VL, and that gives me equation to find relationship between voltage and current. So can we take vector sum of the three? There are three vectors here: VR, VL, and VC. These are three vectors representing phasor of voltages. What you're saying, the sum of three phasor will be the phasor for applied voltage V. So how do we take the sum of these three vectors? What we can do first, we can take sum of VL and VC. They are easy because they are in the opposite direction. We take, so the three vectors are involved. So we take the sum of these two. What is the sum? They are in the opposite direction. And in this case, what we have assumed here, the way we have drawn, we have taken VL to be greater than VC. What would make VL to be greater? Yeah, I hope all of you recall. What is VL equal to? Amplitude of voltage across inductor is equal to amplitude of current into XL. And what is XL? XL, I hope all of you recall. Inductive reactance is equal to omega L. And what is the amplitude of voltage across capacitor? This is equal to amplitude of current into XC. What is XC equal to? 1 by omega C. Okay, so these are amplitudes and we do. So can we take the sum? So here, what we are assuming here, if VL we have drawn in such a way, it looks like VL is greater. VL will be greater when XL is greater than XC. We will see that later again. So we take the sum of these two. The sum of these two will become VL minus VC. So this darker red line indicates sum of these two. Now we are left with these two vectors. Which two vectors? This plus VR. So what is the vector sum? That's this vector sum. So this becomes my applied voltage. Length of this phasor represent amplitude of voltage, and this will represent phase difference between applied voltage and the current. So you understand here, see what happens when there's only a resistor connected. V vector and phasor of V and I will be in the same phase. In case of inductor alone, there is a V leads I by 90 degree. In case of capacitor alone, it lags by 90 degree. When all three are present, the phase angle will depend on relative value of XL, C, and R, which makes common sense. And we have seen here, what does this come to? What does phi indicate here? Phi indicate phase difference between applied voltage phasor and current phasor in the circuit. In this particular case, which phasor is leading? Do we understand lead and lag? Which one is leading here? Can we spot which phasor is leading? It's a phasor rotate in this direction, and here V is leading. V is leading by how much? There is a phase difference of phi, and V is ahead of current by angle phi. Now, can we? This is a triangle. Now, rest of the derivation simply making use of this right angle triangle. Let's see what is right angle triangle we get here. So this hypotenuse, square of the hypotenuse is sum of the square of other two sides. That's what we have written here. Vm square is equal to this. What does this indicate? Amplitude of applied voltage. Square of this is equal to amplitude of voltage across resistance Vrm square, and plus this two terms. This is the equation we get here. This is based on the right angle triangle. And since we are interested in finding current, these two terms can be written in terms of current. And we know amplitude of voltage across resistance equal to Im into R. That's what we have written here. So we substitute these values, we get Im term is common across all three. So this is what the equation is. And from here, we can find the amplitude of current. So if R, L, C are given, if amplitude of voltage is known, we know what is the amplitude of current that will flow. Of course, this current will vary as a sine function, same omega as the source, but amplitude will depend on this factor. Okay, and this is what is this called. And if you notice here, if suppose it was only RL circuit, what would happen? XC would have become 0. It was only RC circuit, XL would have become 0. And this equation is like a other two RL circuit and RC circuit. And even for that matter, R, C, and L circuit, they are all subset of this equation. Okay, so what is Im here? Im comes equal to Vm divided by this term in the denominator. And this term we have already defined. This term we call as impedance. It's a combination of resistance and reactance. What is impedance? Impedance is a combination of resistance and reactance. Okay, resistance, and this is value of impedance Z, and this is what the formula is. And you notice this formula matches with the previous two derivations. See, when we had only R connected, impedance itself is equal to resistance R. When R and L were connected, Z value was equal to R square plus XL square, whole thing
Yes,
square,
sir.
so on and so forth. So this is like a superset. Once we understand, but the basic all other things are based on this equation. So we is this is it. And can we find out the value of phi also? If we just recall, if we just understand this angle here, right angle triangle, it's easy to find. What is tan phi equal to? Tan phi is equal to this side by this side. So this is Im here. This term is impedance. And again, tell me, recall, what does impedance do? This will have same dimensions as the dimension of resistance. And it is similar to resistance, is affects the peak value of current. Higher the resistance is, smaller the value of current. Similar way, as the Z increases, the amplitude of current will keep on decreasing. So this also limits the maximum value of current. It has somewhat similar property then, but not identical to resistance. What is this impedance? This is the impedance here, XL minus XC. And you notice here, and if XL is equal to XC, it may become 0 also. We will see what does that imply. Okay, what is the phase angle tan phi? What is phase angle between which two terms here? You recall, what does this phi indicate here? Phi indicate phase difference between applied voltage and the current flowing in the circuit. Okay, so their voltage across three elements, but there's applied phasor sum of all three put together is applied voltage, and this angle phi indicates phase difference between applied voltage and the current which is flowing in the circuit. This particular case, V is leading because in this case we assume XL to be greater than XC, and this kind of circuit is called, when the voltage leads current. This is inductive circuit. Okay, this circuit is L dominates inductive circuit. So if in this case, this is a phasor what we have drawn. In this phasor, how many voltages are involved? This voltage, this voltage, this voltage, and then we taken the difference and there. What happens if we divide this voltage phasor by current? So if we divide voltage by V, it becomes Z. And if we divide VR by amplitude of current, it becomes R. So in this case, if we whatever phasor we have voltage, if we divide by amplitude of current, we get the phasor of resistance and reactance and impedance. So what is the circuit here? What is this hypotenuse in this case? Hypotenuse is equal to impedance Z, and this is XL minus XC. This is R. That's what we are getting here. And similar to this case, what we are saying is square of this is equal to sum of these two square. Here also the same thing, equation what is written. What is Z square is equal to this side square to this side square. So both phasor diagrams for voltages and phasor diagram for resistance, reactance, and impedance. What are three terms here? Resistance, reactances, and impedance. Impedance, which has combination of resistance and reactance. Okay, so voltage phasor divided by I, we get this phasor. So a major part, or I would say this key part of AC, understanding this phasor. If we understand this phasor, this is at time t is equal to 0. And how would the phasor look like at time t equal to 12? I can rotate entire thing by 30 degree. And you can check anytime what does this indicate. Okay, so okay. Now, yes, Vlad.
Sir, if we divide VL by I, we won't get impedance. Sir, VL is LDI by dt, right?
Are we talking about instantaneous value, or this is drawn as amplitude? Okay.
Maximum current, right, sir?
Huh? We are talking
Maximum
about
current.
This amplitude, we are talking phasor. We're not talking in instantaneous values. And you have to start understanding the difference between instantaneous values and amplitude. Okay, but this is a phasor. Phasor is only amplitude is being used, or we can use RMS value, not instantaneous value. And as I mentioned earlier also, this is something, okay, and that's why some points we need to, unless we refresh, there are not many things. Unless we refresh, I mentioned also, when we write the equation, relationship between current and voltage, it is valid only for two cases. It is valid for amplitude. It is valid for RMS value. It's not valid for instantaneous values. And I mentioned that one specifically. So those who forget that point, let's refresh that point. Why it is not valid? When we write, well, I can write what is Im equal to in case of resistor. If it is resistance, where Vm is equal to, this is valid. And in case of inductor, uh, maximum value by XL is valid. This is valid for maximum amplitude. It is valid for RMS values. But is it values for instantaneous values? No, this is not valid for instantaneous values. And I had discussed that one when we were at the topic. So let's see. So what you have done using this phasor, if I have voltage here, I can find out if applied voltage is known, we can find out equation of current. The equation of current basically, since this is sine function, when I find equation of current, I can find out amplitude, omega, as well as phase constant. This equation. So based on this, can we calculate what will the average power consumption in this circuit? Which we are talking about? Unless understand, we are not talking about instantaneous power. We are talking about average power consumption. The instantaneous power consumption, this also when they are charging, they may consume power, positive, negative, depending on their charging or their discharging. Average power consumption. How would you calculate average power consumption? Any thought? So we have something like this. So suppose what you are saying here, suppose if this is something like this is given. What we can write is what is Vm equal to, this is applied voltage is something like this. Okay, omega t. And this is what it is. And how would current I will write here? What is value of current? What is amplitude of current we said? Amplitude of current will be equal to, that's how the current will be. I will be Vm by Z. And current will be leading or lagging as per this. If this equation used, current will lag by. If this is a phasor diagram given, based on this, this will become current. Okay, so current is known. Can we calculate what will the average power consumption here? How would we calculate average power consumption in this circuit here? Anybody?
So it's RMS current square into the resistance, right?
So that's why I have mentioned earlier also, very good. Some of you recall, some of you tend to forget. I think that's where revision is the key. Unless we keep revising things, we will not get better. The only power consumption is in the resistor. And what is power consumption? I have written I square R. And whenever I write this I think again I have to refresh your notation. Yeah, there are three terms. If I write a small I am using the notation I. Small I indicates instantaneous value, and so on and so forth. When I write, this is RMS current. And this is I could have also written as this I RMS square R. Both are same thing. When I write capital I indicates RMS current. So once moment I found this one, I know what is the power consumption. So here, do we know? If we know the amplitude, I know the RMS value. This RMS R. So we can write in different form. Can I write in place of IRMS, VRMS by Z? You said yes, that equation also valid. I can write in IRMS square R. We can also write this when we are using capital V, it means VRMS by Z. So if one I have remained, one in place of one I have substituted V by Z. So V by Z I into R. While I do, I'll come to the reason also. From this figure here, can we find what is value of R by Z here? What is R by Z equal to? From this phasor, this side is R and this is Z. What is R by Z equal to in terms of phi? Base divided by hypotenuse cos phi. So in place of R by Z, I can write cos phi. So power consumption is equal to V into I into cos phi. I'll tell you, and this term cos phi is called power factor. This term cos phi is called power factor. Let's try and understand why it is called power factor, why it is useful. See, typically, wherever current, see, all of you know, industry as well as household, there's a power meter. Power meter, it measures what is the amount energy you consume. And power meter, you can see there's earlier old meter, it will keep going in a circle. And if you power consumption is higher, it will tend to rotate faster. See, in case of domestic consumption, power can be written in three forms. What are three forms? We can write power. We can write power is equal to VI. It can be written I square R. It can be also written as V square by R. See, in case of domestic supply or industrial supply or whatever commercial use, V is constant. So by measuring current, we can calculate power. And current is easy to measure. Power is not so easy to measure. So many cases, what they do, the meter will measure only current. But what happens in case of AC supply? What we notice as per this equation, VI itself will indicate, okay, VI will give you instantaneous power. It will not give you average power. So there's a power factor, and this term says, that's why you'll notice somewhere we also come across power. They also use unit VA. So even the supply also they do some kVA. The transformers and all, many times you'll come across capacity of transformer written in VA and kVA. Because that indicates what is the power it can transfer. But actual consumption may not be VI. Actual consumption depending on consumption what you have. Depending on the consumption, if addition to resistance, some of the units may have inductor, it may have capacity property also. So the cos phi indicates power factor. Not knowing too much of detail, yes, power factor is equal to VI into cos phi. So I can calculate power in this fashion. Yes, Vignesh?
Sir, why will the power consumption always be less than like a DC circuit?
See, because there's a reason here. You can see it here, but this is current and okay. If voltage and current were in the same phase, power consumption would have been VI. The fact they are not in phase, that's why it is not VI. And what makes it not to be in the phase? See, what will make them in phase? That comes in the later part, which is resonance. They will be in phase if XL is equal to XC.
Yes, sir. So it will be pure resistance then.
XL is equal to XC. And many industries, that's what they keep doing also. What they do, whenever you can check what we don't have to go into so much detail, but industries I have noticed, what they do, they keep correcting this power factor so that it matches. It is always in phase. And when we look at this, you see this. If we look at the previous one, this was this where the current is, this is where the applied voltage is. So we say sometimes we also use something called some component of current is along V, and some is perpendicular to V. The component of current which is perpendicular to V does not cause any power consumption. That's called wattless current. What is wattless current? The current which does not consume power. So cos theta component consumes power, sin theta component does not consume power. That's where you use power factor. But is it power factor necessary? We can calculate power consumption this expression. We can also calculate this expression. This is something very easily from here we can arrive at this. We can easily, so moment we have this phasor diagram, we'll know the power factor. What is wattless component of current? This is this direction V. So we call I sin phi as equal to wattless component of current. This also has no great significance other than just knowledge of it. Okay, so VI cos theta becomes power just like work done, and this is a component of current which is not leading to power consumption. So this is part what we have done. It's like a superset of other two things. Whatever we have done, can we apply in case of RL circuit? What will happen? Suppose it was only RL circuit, the capacitor was not there. Will still phi exist in that case? Will power factor still exist if it is only RL circuit? Can we apply this what we have done here for RLC circuit or RL circuit alone? All we need to do, Xc is equal to 0. It becomes RL circuit. So RL circuit also, yes, what is the power consumption in case of RL circuit? Okay, in case of Z, this will not be XL minus XC, this will become XL. So whatever we have done here, it is also valid for other two combinations what we did before. So that is what RLC, and which is part of the syllabus for next week. But what we have done today is also valid for, see what you have for tomorrow's exam. Tomorrow's exam you don't have RLC circuit. So what we have done today, it is not, but some of the thing what we have done is also useful for RL circuit and RC circuit. So syllabus is till what we have done yesterday. Okay. And we call, so previous case, how we have drawn? We have drawn VL, we have taken VL to be greater than VC. What happens if XC is greater than XL? Same circuit, if XC is greater than XL, how would phasor diagram change? The phasor diagram, you see, just look up this. If XC is greater than XL, VC will be greater than VL. So how would the phasor change? There's a difference if you take the sum of the two. Resultant of the two, rather than pointing upwards, it will be pointing downwards. This will be VL and VC. And can you notice what is the difference between the two phasors here? What is the key difference between the previous phasor and this phasor?
In one EMF will lead and in one EMF will lag.
So what happened? Previous case when, that's why I call it capacitive circuit. In case of capacitive circuit, current leads. This can inductive circuit, voltage leads. So moment is any circuit, if voltage leads a current, What we call that circuit is, we call that a capacitive circuit. It doesn't mean that the circuit has only
Yes, sir.
capacitor, it doesn't have inductor. We say the
Yes, sir.
capacitive property is more dominant compared to inductive property. So when XC is greater than XL, it's capacitive circuit. When XL is greater than XC, it's inductive circuit. And when both are equal, this is called resonance, which comes a little later. We will not do resonance today. We'll do resonance next Monday or so. Okay, and it's easy to understand. In case of resonance, the same current power consumption also becomes maximum. Okay, so this is capacitive circuit. VL will become VC will become VL, and phase angle phi becomes XC minus XL by R. So current leads voltage. That's a capacity property. Okay, so this is what we have done in case of RLC circuit, and so I'll come back to what the topic what we are going to have for tomorrow's test about RMS. So some of the books they are given some questions which are I think are a little more complicated. Let's see that what those things are. So in case of RMS current, when we take what is IRMS square, we can also think of this is nothing but average value of square of current. Average of square of current is this term. Okay, that's what, and we can calculate IRMS square and then we take the square root. Okay, that's another way to understand IRMS, and we can use this application. Suppose the current is like this. We have done this question also. If current is something like this, what we can do here also. What is this IRMS square? In this case also, the result which comes is equivalent to this. What did the first term indicate? First term indicate whenever current is sum of several factors. What we can do, we can, the result, there's no proof. I'm not giving any. This one we have done a kind of thing. This one a proof is available. But the result comes something like this. What are the result coming to? The result was equivalent to taking the, not the square of the whole thing. Take the square of this separately and find its average value. Take up a square of this and find its average value. Not the square of the whole thing. Because when you square it also, when the product of these two cancel out. And this is something what we had done. And we can, without proof, we extend this to other cases also. What is other case we can extend to? This is what we had done. And if you see the result was matching with this. And IRMS square came equal to, so whenever this is sine function, what is the average of anything which is sine function? Integration, average of sine square function is equal to 1 by 2. So this term is a square and this came equal to b square by 2. Hence IRMS value is square root of the whole thing. Now, function is something more complicated, like this. Again, for this we can easily prove it. This becomes a little difficult to prove it. But extending same logic, what you can do, we can find IRMS square. What is IRMS square? IRMS square will be equal to average of the square of this will be a square. Separately, we are not squaring the whole term. We are taking average of square of each term separately. If I take this term, what is the average of square value? B square by 2. And this third one will be equal to C square by 2. So this will be IRMS square if any term is of this nature. Are we giving a proof? I am not giving a proof, because the proof is, first of all, this kind of question should not come. But if it comes also, you can easily understand how to solve without proof. No proof, because this proof becomes complicated and not necessary, not there in the syllabus. But to solve, you can just keep this in mind. What we do here is something similar. We take the average of square of each term independently. Average of square of this is a square. Average of anything which is sine function is b square by 2, and this becomes c square by 2. Even if the time period is separate, even if there's a phase difference, still the relationship holds good. So even you notice here, there's a phase difference also. Even if there's a phase difference, average value comes same. Okay. So this is something I am not giving a proof, and because proof is not warranted and it's not useful also in many ways, and is necessarily mathematically lengthy. But such question we can just keep in mind, like a formula we can solve. Okay, let's come back to some more questions on circuits what you have done. Read this question and try and solve this question. These are things what you have done already, just for practice. So is air coil. Air coil means is basically anything, any conductor bent in from a coil is actually inductor. All of you try and solve this question.